The courtroom cameras captured the exact moment Ashley Morgan realized her perfect little plan was not perfect anymore. She walked into Judge Judy's courtroom like she was stepping onto a red carpet. Her designer purse hung from her arm. Her expensive heels clicked against the floor. Her sunglasses sat on top of her highlighted hair like a crown. Every movement was confident, controlled, and practiced. Ashley was only 28 years old, but she carried herself like someone who had beaten the system so many times that she no longer feared it. She was suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Chen, for $50,000. Not after 10 years of marriage, not after a broken engagement, not after a shared home, shared children, or a destroyed life. After a 3-month relationship, 3 months. And Ashley truly believed she was about to walk out of that courtroom with the easiest payday of her life. But what she did not know was that Judge Judy had already done her homework. She had read the case file. She had reviewed the messages. She had checked the history. And most importantly, she had found the pattern. Ashley thought she was bringing a heartbreak case. Judge Judy knew she was looking at something much darker. A system, a scheme, a business model built on fake love, fake pain, and real money. And before the hearing was over, 4 simple words would destroy everything Ashley had spent years building. "Show me your taxes." Those 4 words would turn Ashley's confident smile into panic. They would expose her past lawsuits, her settlement money, her fake victim act, and the truth behind her luxury lifestyle. Because Ashley Morgan was not unlucky in love. She was hunting. Ashley had learned very early that certain people were easy to manipulate. Lonely men, recently divorced men, successful men who were emotionally wounded and desperate to believe that someone beautiful, confident, and affectionate had chosen them for who they were. She did not look for love. She looked for weakness. Dating apps became her hunting ground. She searched for doctors, lawyers, software engineers, executives, and business owners. She studied their photos, their captions, their emotional details. If a man mentioned divorce, heartbreak, loneliness, or starting over, Ashley paid attention. To her, vulnerability looked like opportunity. That was how she found Michael Chen. Michael was 35 years old, a software engineer, and recently divorced. He was not flashy. He was not arrogant. He lived carefully, saved money, and kept to himself. His divorce had left him emotionally exhausted, and when he finally downloaded a dating app again, he was not looking for drama. He was looking for peace. Then Ashley appeared beautiful, charming, warm. She asked questions about his life. She listened when he talked about his divorce. She told him he deserved better. She made him feel seen at a time when he felt invisible. Within 2 weeks, she was talking about destiny. Within a month, she was talking about their future. Within 3 months, she was talking about money. At first, the requests seemed small. A dinner at a more expensive restaurant. A little help with rent because her payment was delayed. A car repair that suddenly became urgent. A vet bill that could not wait. Michael helped because he believed they were building something real. He thought love meant support. Ashley thought support meant evidence. Every dinner, every gift, every transfer, every emotional message. She was collecting pieces of a story she would later twist into a lawsuit. And when she believed she had enough, she ended the relationship through a cold text message. She told Michael he was not financially stable enough for the life she wanted. 2 days later, he was served with papers, $50,000 for emotional damages. Michael was shocked. He had been heartbroken by the breakup, but the lawsuit crushed him in a different way. He could not understand how 3 months of dating had become a legal attack. He could not understand how someone who had spoken about love, marriage, and healing could suddenly accuse him of destroying her life. He walked into Judge Judy's courtroom, looking nervous, tired, and deeply confused. Across from him sat Ashley. Dressed like victory had already been decided, Judge Judy began the case with her usual sharp calm. "Miss Morgan, You are suing Mr. Chen for $50,000 for emotional damages. Tell me what happened." Ashley's performance began instantly. She reached for a tissue before a single tear had fallen. Her voice softened. Her shoulders dropped. She looked like a woman who had practiced sadness in front of a mirror. "Your Honor, Michael made me believe we had something real. He pursued me, took me to beautiful places, bought me gifts, and talked about our future. He made me feel safe. Then he emotionally abandoned me. I have been devastated. I have needed therapy. I have been unable to work. He destroyed my trust." Judge Judy watched her carefully. Not emotionally, carefully, because real pain has a rhythm. It does not usually arrive perfectly rehearsed. Real victims do not always know which words will sound best. They stumble, they breathe, they remember. They break. Ashley did not break. Ashley performed. Judge Judy asked, "How long were you together?" Ashley looked down softly. "3 beautiful months, Your Honor." Judge Judy paused. "Who ended the relationship?" For the first time, Ashley hesitated. Only for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. "Well, emotionally, he ended it first," she said. "I only made it official because I had to protect myself." Judge Judy tapped her pen once. "So you ended it." Ashley shifted in her chair. "Only because he had already abandoned me emotionally." Judge Judy did not argue. She simply wrote something down. Then she looked at Ashley's outfit. "Miss Morgan, you say you have been unable to work. Yet you appear to be wearing very expensive clothing. How do you support yourself?" Ashley answered quickly, "I'm a social media influencer. Lifestyle, fashion, wellness, relationship advice. But because of the trauma Michael caused, I lost income. I have not been able to create content properly." Judge Judy's expression barely changed. "What kind of relationship advice do you give?" Ashley blinked. "Advice about self-worth, boundaries, knowing when a man is wasting your time." A small silence passed through the courtroom, then Judge Judy turned to Michael. "Mr. Chen, tell me your side." Michael's voice was quiet. "Your Honor, I met Ashley on a dating app. I had just gone through a divorce. I was trying to start over. She seemed kind. She seemed interested in me. She talked about our future very quickly, and I believed her." He opened a folder with shaking hands. "I paid for dinners. I bought gifts. I helped when she said she had emergencies. Rent, car repairs, her dog. I didn't think I was being used. I thought I was helping someone I loved." Ashley rolled her eyes slightly, but Judge Judy saw it. Michael continued. "Then she sent me a message saying I wasn't financially stable enough for her. 2 days later, I got the lawsuit. I don't understand how I damaged her. I cared about her." The pain in his voice was not theatrical. It was real. Judge Judy took the messages and began reading. One text from Ashley said, "If you really care about me, you'll want to take me somewhere nice." Another said, "My ex always treated me like a princess. I hope you're not cheap." Then came the money requests: $2,000 for rent, $1,500 for car repairs, $800 for an emergency vet bill. Judge Judy looked up. "Miss Morgan, did you repay any of this money?" Ashley straightened. "They were not loans. They were gifts. Gifts you requested. He offered because he loved me." Judge Judy stared at her. "The messages show you asked." Ashley's face tightened. "When people are in a relationship, they help each other. That is normal." Judge Judy leaned forward. "Normal is helping someone. Normal is not turning help into a $50,000 lawsuit after 3 months." Ashley's mask slipped. "Your Honor, with respect, maybe you don't understand modern dating. When a man takes a woman to expensive places and makes promises, he creates expectations. Michael made me believe I would be taken care of. Then he failed to deliver. The audience reacted softly. That sentence changed the room. Because Ashley was no longer speaking like a broken-hearted woman. She was speaking like a disappointed investor. Judge Judy caught it immediately. "So your position is that a man who dates you for 3 months owes you a lifestyle?" Ashley hesitated. "No, my position is that he damaged me emotionally after creating false hope." Judge Judy leaned back. Let's talk about false hope. Then she asked the question Ashley should have feared. Miss Morgan, have you sued other former romantic partners? Ashley's eyes flickered. I have had to protect myself before. How many times? A few. How many? Ashley swallowed. Maybe 5 or 6. The courtroom became silent. Judge Judy reached under the bench and pulled out a thick folder. Ashley's face changed instantly. Because that folder did not look like a case file. It looked like a trap. Judge Judy opened it slowly. Miss Morgan, court records show that, in the last 5 years, you have filed lawsuits against 7 different men. The audience gasped. Ashley froze. Judge Judy continued. 7 men. Each relationship lasted between 2 and 4 months. Each man had a high income. Each lawsuit claimed emotional damage. Each case settled out of court. Ashley's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Judge Judy looked down at the page. The total amount collected was $247,000. Michael stared at Ashley like he was seeing her for the first time. Judge Judy's voice sharpened. This is not heartbreak. This is a business model. Ashley tried to recover. Your Honor, those relationships were real. I was hurt in all of them. Judge Judy raised one hand. Do not interrupt me. Ashley went silent. Judge Judy began reading the cases one by one, a software executive. 3 months. Emotional damage claim. Settlement and investment banker. 2 months. Emotional damage claim. Settlement a medical sales manager. 4 months. Emotional damage claim. Settlement a tech entrepreneur. 3 months. Emotional damage claim. Settlement. Every case followed the same pattern. Ashley found successful men. She moved quickly. She built emotional intensity. She created financial dependency. Then she ended the relationship and sued. Most men settled because fighting would cost more than paying. Ashley knew that. That was the secret. Her lawsuits did not have to win. They only had to scare. Judge Judy looked at Michael. Mr. Chen, you were not in a relationship with this woman. You were selected. Ashley's breathing became shallow. Judge Judy turned back to her. You targeted emotionally vulnerable men, built trust, extracted money, then threatened them with public embarrassment and legal fees. Ashley shook her head. That's not true. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed. Then explain the taxes. Ashley's face went pale. Judge Judy lifted another document. You claim these settlements were compensation for emotional distress, yet on your tax returns, you reported the income as consulting fees. The courtroom erupted. Judge Judy continued over the noise. You reported settlement money as business income. You deducted dating app subscriptions, clothing, beauty expenses, and even therapy as business expenses. Ashley whispered, I don't know what you're talking about. Judge Judy leaned forward. Show me your taxes, Miss Morgan. Ashley's lips trembled. I don't have them. Judge Judy's response was calm and brutal. I do. The room went completely still. Those 4 words landed harder than a gavel, because Ashley had prepared fake tears. She had prepared emotional language. She had prepared a victim story. But she had not prepared for tax records. Judge Judy placed the papers on the bench. You have been treating romantic lawsuits as income. You created a pattern. You documented it. You reported it. And now you are sitting in my courtroom pretending to be a victim. Ashley started crying for real now. Not soft, pretty tears. Panic tears. The kind that come when a person realizes the lie is no longer working. Please, Your Honor, she said. I was just trying to survive. Judge Judy's voice turned cold. Survive? You collected nearly $250,000 from men who believed you cared about them. Ashley sobbed. Men make promises. Men use women. Judge Judy cut her off. Real victims exist. Real emotional abuse exists. And people like you make it harder for those victims to be believed. That sentence hit the courtroom hard, because this case was no longer just about Michael. It was about every person whose pain had been doubted because someone else had turned victimhood into a strategy. Judge Judy looked at Ashley with disgust. You weaponized sympathy. You weaponized the legal system. And you weaponized other people's loneliness. Michael sat quietly, his face tense. He was not celebrating, he looked wounded. Because even though Ashley was being exposed, the betrayal was still real. He had opened his heart to someone who had never intended to love him. Judge Judy turned to him. Mr. Chen, you were deceived. You were manipulated by someone who studied your vulnerability and used it for profit. I am sorry this happened to you. Michael nodded, his eyes lowered. Then Judge Judy delivered the ruling. Miss Morgan's claim is dismissed with prejudice. Ashley cried harder. Judge Judy continued. Mr. Chen is awarded $5,000 in damages and $8,000 in legal fees. Total judgment, $13,000. Ashley gasped. No, Your Honor, please. Judge Judy raised her hand. I am not finished. The courtroom went silent again. This matter will be referred for further investigation. When someone files repeated claims using the same pattern against multiple people, collects settlements, and reports the money as business income, that is not bad luck in dating. That may be fraud. Ashley covered her face. The designer image was gone now. No sunglasses, no confident smile, no perfect performance. Just panic. Judge Judy's final words were direct. You came here expecting another payday. Instead, you exposed yourself. The gavel came down. Case dismissed. Ashley could barely stand. Her purse had slipped from the chair. Her hands shook as she tried to gather her things. The woman who entered like a star left like someone whose entire identity had been stripped away in public. Michael remained seated for a moment, trying to process what had happened. He had come to court afraid he might lose $50,000. He left knowing he had been part of something much bigger. The clip exploded online within hours. People replayed Ashley's entrance, her fake tears, Judge Judy pulling out the folder, and the moment those 4 words hit the courtroom, "Show me your taxes." It became more than a courtroom line. It became a symbol. A reminder that stories can sound emotional and still be false. A reminder that confidence is not evidence. A reminder that patterns matter. Ashley's social media disappeared almost overnight. Former followers turned on her. Men from her past came forward. People began comparing stories, timelines, screenshots, and settlement records. The image she had built online, luxury, confidence, independence, started to look very different, not success. Profit from manipulation. Michael, meanwhile, became a voice for people who had been embarrassed into silence. He spoke about how difficult it was to admit he had been used. He explained that scams do not always look like scams at first. Sometimes they look like affection. Sometimes they look like comfort. Sometimes they look like someone finally understanding your pain. That was why Ashley's scheme worked. She did not steal from strangers in a dark alley. She stole through trust. And Judge Judy exposed the one thing Ashley could not perform her way out of: lawsuits, settlements, taxes. The truth was not emotional. It was documented. That is what made the takedown so powerful. Ashley could cry. She could argue. She could call herself hurt. She could claim she was misunderstood. But she could not erase the pattern. 7 men. 5 years. Short relationships. Emotional damage claims. Private settlements. Nearly $250,000. That was not coincidence. That was calculation. And in Judge Judy's courtroom, calculation leaves fingerprints. The case became a warning for everyone watching. Not just about dating, but about manipulation in any form. About people who learn the language of pain without carrying the truth of it. About people who use sympathy as a tool and the court system as a weapon. Ashley Morgan believed she had found the perfect scam because it hid behind emotions. Who would question heartbreak? Who would doubt tears? Who would want their private messages read in court? For years, that fear protected her. But fear only works until one person refuses to stay silent. Michael refused, Judge Judy investigated, and Ashley's entire scheme collapsed under the weight of its own records. She had walked into court asking for $50,000. She walked out owing money, facing investigation, and carrying a reputation she could never redesign with designer clothes or social media filters, because justice does not care how expensive your purse is. It does not care how perfect your makeup looks. It does not care how carefully you rehearse your tears. Justice asks for proof. And Judge Judy asked Ashley Morgan for proof. All she found was a business built on broken trust. Ashley wanted the court to believe she was a victim, but the evidence showed she was the predator, and those 4 words became the moment everything ended. "Show me your taxes." In that courtroom, Ashley learned the lesson every scammer eventually learns. You can manipulate people for a while. You can hide behind charm for a while. You can turn lies into money for a while. But patterns do not stay hidden forever. And when the truth finally arrives, it does not knock softly. It walks into court, opens a folder, and destroys the lie one document at a time.